welcome, Sam. I'm very happy to have you here. And I would like to introduce you first of all, and I hope I'm going to do it justice because you have been a telecom inventor like since I think over 50 years. And
55.
you hold, yeah, 55, right. And you basically not only are an expert in connectivity when it comes to technology, which you definitely are, but you also have a great expertise when it comes to policy making and also to understand the human side. What I still remember is you have a deep connection to the Gandhian philosophy, and you're still very active. And I really look forward to, like, there's a new book coming, nothing less than Redesigning the World. That's the title. And I mean, I remember working with you on it a little bit, and it was a great excitement endeavor. And I'm really looking forward seeing it published now. And of course, like since we worked on it, like a lot of things changed. I mean, we are really entering a time of turbulence. I think we hear there's definitely a redesigning needed. And I just would like to start asking you, because you are in Chicago in the US, and there's so much going on, like like the COVID crisis, the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, how are you doing, Sam?
First of all, it's good to reconnect with you, Adrian. I enjoyed our interactions in the past. You are a bright young man with lots of potential, and I'm so happy to be with you today. We worked on some of these things even at this conference in Ireland many years ago. Mm-hmm. And that really built our contact. And I'm happy to learn that you are doing your PhD. You have moved back to Germany and you have started your own company. I want to wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I'm locked up in self-quarantine at my home in Chicago for the last almost 5 months. I have never moved out of my house since 3rd of March. The maximum place I have gone out is to see my mailbox. I don't drive. I have someone who delivers all the groceries. And I just stay at home doing lots and lots of Zoom calls every day, working from home. And I'm beginning to like this lifestyle. It has put brakes on things, cut down all the waste of time and energy and driving and parking and filling gas and going to laundry and all that stuff, wearing shoes. I have all these suits sitting there and I have all the ties sitting there. So I think this is a very good lifestyle. We had gone too far, and this halt has put some brakes. And to me, COVID-19 is a time to review, reflect, rethink, redirect, reposition. And hope we can use this time effectively and not go back to what it was, but do something different. And that's why finally I decided that I need to complete that book that you and I talked about 5, 7, 8 years ago. To me, the world was last designed after World War II by a group of countries led by US. That design was mainly focused on democracy, human rights, capitalism, consumption, and military. That design created just about the time I was born in 1942. That's when I was born. UN, World Bank, IMF, NATO, what is now WTO, GATT and all. And it also created a lot of measurements: GDP, GNP, per capita income, balance of payment, trade deficit, foreign exchange reserve. And when I look at all of that, I find that 75 years down the road, with the kind of hyperconnectivity we have today, this design don't make sense anymore. For the first time in the human history, we are all connected.
Mm.
What does this connectivity mean? How do we live like a global community with this connectivity, as opposed to sort of separate nations with separate goals? So to me, coronavirus says we are all interconnected.
Mm.
We are all part of a biological system, and we can't isolate ourselves from each other. We cannot create boundaries around us because there is something that nature has thrown to us which broke all the boundaries. It put the entire world to halt. No one could ever imagine
No.
that the whole world will be on pause.
Very
So
true.
to me, it says we are all interconnected, interdependent. We cannot isolate ourselves, and we got to think of two main things. No third thing. One is planet, which has given us coronavirus, nature, as a warning. And two is people. At the end of the day, you and I matter. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what you look like, what your religion is. You are Adrian to me. You are my fellow human being. I love you for what you are. I celebrate the differences you and I have. And you and I need to collectively work on making sure that the planet is healthy. Today, planet is in pain.
So Sam, I think what you're describing, I can very much relate to, because it seems to me that, like a lot of the tensions and a lot of the struggles that we're facing as a global community, is kind of popping up, it's coming to the surface. So it looks quite scary, like when I see what is happening in the States, when I see the tension in China and US relations. And this is like a question for you, because you probably know much more. What role is has India to play in that, multipolar world order, so to speak? Because I think the US is not the only hegemonial power anymore, and they're still kind of like, we are kind of in the open. What is the new balance, and how can we come together?
First of all, I think we all must recognize that collectively we need to work on planet and people. Today, I see two visions of the world. One is American vision, which is based on the design of 1940s, democracy, human rights, freedom, capitalism, consumption, military. And that's a good vision. That vision served us well. That avoided any Third World War, brought technology to benefit large number of people all over the world, improved infrastructure, telecom, energy, provided more comfort, also helped everybody in terms of longevity, increased longevity, decreased infant mortality. So that vision has done well. The question is, we are stuck right now in that vision. That vision has a lot of distortions. We don't have democracy everywhere. Human rights have not been delivered. Capitalism has created inequality. Wealth has been concentrated in the hands of very few. Consumption has been taken too far. And military has taken too much of our resources from human development. Then you have a Chinese vision. American vision to me is more of an open vision. Chinese vision is sort of based on central party, which is a little bit close vision, where
Yeah, definitely.
human empowerment is limited. There is freedom within boundaries. It's not that there is no freedom, but they have different set of boundaries. And that vision is again predominantly based on China's rise. Belt and Road Initiative. Chinese have captured all the manufacturing. They have huge amount of cash. So they want to dominate the world economic and trade and policy making. I believe both of these visions still are based on the old mindset of command and control.
Yeah, well, Well, one is focusing more on individualistic drive, the other focusing more collectivistic drive. Yeah.
One is close vision, but both visions are command and control. My superiority. I am the power. I'm going to lead. What world needs today in hyper-connected world is a vision that is based on networked vision. And that's where someone like India can play an important role. India is the largest democracy in the world. Pretty soon, India will have 1.5 billion people, maybe more than China. And India has been a country of diversity. But India also has a lot of challenges. India is poor. India has democracy horizontally, but it's not very deep. America has deep democracy. America has institutions, talent, science and technology that India doesn't have. India doesn't have that depth in science and technology. Okay. So I think the combination of many of these countries, including Europe, Europe has some great strength. Africa is going to be the next growth. So you got to look at world in new light. And that's where my book talks about third vision of the world. That vision has to be very different from focusing on markets, trade, money, power, military. Those are old yardsticks. What are the new yardsticks? And will people accept new yardsticks? I don't know. But I want to begin conversation.
That sounds fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may not be alive to see the fruits of that conversation, but that's okay.
So that's the task of my generation to carry it forward. What you're referring to when you talk about, like the network vision, I mean, it's not a command and control movement.
No, it's not a collaboration, cooperation.
It's much more of a co-creation. So how can we come together? Because in complex system, you cannot predict how to solve complex problems, right? So you have to design the environments and the structures so you adapt and you become resilient. And I think those are certain topics and principles that you talk about also in the book, and very much looking forward to seeing it published. Something, like how do you balance and how can you combine that interchange with outer engagement?
And role models in people like Gandhi and Nehru and Patel and Bose and Maulana Azad, and then these were giants in terms of independence movement activities. And they were all decent human beings. They were all open. They all believed in truth, trust, teamwork, love, humanity. And I somehow got my grounding foundation in those values. Making money didn't really impress me in life. Fine, it's important to make money, but enough to live comfortably. I never had a dream of being a billionaire. It didn't interest me. Okay. Because I felt I'm going to use my life to live very differently. It is important for me to make sure that my neighbor is well off. If I had a driver, I want to make sure my driver is well off. I don't keep a driver. I don't keep a cook. I do all my work. I sweep my floor. I do my laundry. I drive my car. Okay. That's the kind of lifestyle I have selected. Because it is important for me to make sure that other human being gets respect, dignity, support. For the first time in the human history, we are living in an economy of surplus.
Yes,
Not
that's
economy.
very true. Yeah, I mean, hunger is a problem of distribution, not of production.
You can produce anything.
Yeah.
But we wind up producing for people only who can buy, and not for people who need. We have enough surplus food. You know, when I was growing up, people used to say that India will not be able to feed herself. India was a basket case. Then we had Green Revolution.
Yeah.
Today, India has 1.2 billion people, almost 3 times more than what India had, 3 or 4 times. And we have surplus food. And we have 200 million people hungry.
Yeah.
So I think we are living in the most interesting and exciting times in human history.
I definitely agree on that, Sam. I definitely agree. And, you know, like, I mean,
I wish I was younger.
Yeah. It gives me, you know, it gives me great pleasure and energy to hear you talking and sharing your wisdom, because you really live that your whole life. And I'm very grateful to have that connection and that inspiration. So, you know,
people like you, Adrian, we need people like you to go and spread the message.
I will definitely.
You can reach, I can't reach.
Yeah, definitely.
You can reach people in Germany. You can reach people of your age group, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't have that.
Yeah. So, you know, like, I think this has been the start of a conversation, you know, and I will say, like, let's continue.
Sure.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the book, and then, you know, let's go from there and see what we can co-create together. So,
thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I wish you all the best, and remain in touch. Don't get lost.
Yeah, I won't.